Today we're going to be talking about Army leadership. A lot of what I'm going to present in this video is taken from Army Doctrine Publication 6-22, which was released in July 2019. But I also have my own spin and interpretation about how to make some of these ideas more actionable. This video is the condensed version of a 30-minute lecture that I give to junior leaders under my command. In the lecture, I go into a lot more detail, so if you are interested, you can watch it here. In this video, I'm going to help you bridge the gap between learning about leadership and taking action by teaching you some techniques that I've learned as an Army officer. First, let's start with the definition. Leadership is the activity of influencing people by providing purpose, direction, and motivation to accomplish the mission and improve the organization. Leadership is an activity. It's not a trait you were born with or something that's innate. And it's not just having a position of authority. It's an action, the action of leading. Because it's an activity, it's open to everyone. Anyone can be taught to be a leader and can improve their ability to lead. While some natural talent is always helpful, leadership is something that improves with time and practice. But we all know the old saying, practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to practice. So, leadership is the activity of influencing people. So, how do you influence someone? According to ADP 6-22, there are 9 basic methods of influence. Number 1 is pressure. Pressure occurs when leaders use explicit demands to achieve compliance, such as establishing deadlines for the completion of tasks and communicating negative consequences for those not met. Number 2 is legitimating, which is when leaders establish their authority as the basis for a request. Number 3 is exchange, which is when leaders provide incentives for gaining a higher level of compliance with orders or instructions. Number 4 is personal appeals. This is when the leader asks for a subordinate's support based upon their personal or long-standing professional relationship, generally out of loyalty. Number 5 is collaboration. This occurs when the leader engages with subordinates or peers to apply influence by contributing to the outcome. The leader is making a commitment more attractive to followers by stepping in and resolving problems, offering additional resources, or sharing in the work. Number 6 is rational persuasion. This requires providing a broader context, logical argument, or explanations showing how a request is relevant to the goal and why something should or must be done. Number 7 is apprising. This is when the leader explains why an order or request will benefit a subordinate or team, such as explaining how performing a task a certain way will save time. Number 8 is inspirational appeals. This occurs when the leader creates enthusiasm for a request by arousing strong emotions in support of a decision they must make or have already made. Number 9, participation occurs when leaders ask others to join them in determining how best to address a problem or meet an objective. There's a lot more to each of these methods of influence that you can read about in Chapter 5 of ADP 6-22. The link is in the description. Field Manual 6-22 states that, quote, Army leaders can draw on a variety of techniques to influence others, ranging from obtaining compliance to building commitment to a cause or organization. Specific techniques for influence fall along a continuum. The continuum that the manual references ranges from pure compliance on one end and pure commitment on the other. All the methods of influence that we discussed and how they are used fall somewhere along the continuum. On the graph, we have compliance-based methods on the left-hand side and commitment-based methods on the right-hand side. The methods themselves tend to be compliance or commitment-based, but how they are used also affects their place on the continuum. If a leader needs to use the method of pressure, there's a difference between saying, Bob, get it done by the end of the day or I will write you up, and saying, Bob, this task is really important, and if it's not completed by the end of the day, I'm going to write you up. Although they are both a form of pressure, the first is way farther towards compliance. Additionally, leaders will typically use a combination of influence methods when working with their subordinates or employees. Sometimes the combination can be in the same sentence. For example, okay, team, it would mean a lot to me personally if we can meet this goal. And if we do, then everyone gets a raise. This is the best team I've ever served on, and I know we can do it. A leader that uses mostly compliance based methods of influence, I call a tyrant. A tyrant wants to be feared. A leader that uses only commitment based methods on the right hand side, I call a milquetoast. They want to be liked or loved by the people they lead, and they're often afraid to be direct. You likely have had experience with these two types of people, and those experiences are rarely pleasant. You might even be one of those types of people yourself, and that's okay. That's why I made this video. The person who focuses on those methods in the middle, but has the ability to use the methods on either end of the spectrum, is a true leader. A leader commands respect. Real respect is a mixture of both fear and love. A skilled leader correctly uses the method of influence appropriate to the situation, but always harmonizes compliance-based methods and commitment-based methods of influence. It's important to remember that this tool is qualitative, not quantitative. Leadership isn't a math problem, and it's not about balancing the methods of compliance and commitment. It's about harmonizing them. This is something that I've changed since I started giving this lecture. If it was about balance, a bipolar leader who uses only methods on either end of the spectrum could theoretically be balanced. But finding harmony is about using the right method for the situation and finding an equilibrium in the middle of the continuum. Knowing the methods of influence is all well and good, but if you're struggling as a leader, it's probably because you aren't properly harmonizing between compliance and commitment. So here's where I'm going to give you the real homework. Get a pen and paper and copy down the graph that you see on the screen. Keep the graph with you throughout the day, and anytime that you exert some influence on someone, usually someone that works for you, just make a little mark on the line above the method of influence that you used. If you want to go to the next level, then have one of your coworkers watch this video and then observe you for a few days and give you some feedback. If you're struggling as a leader to earn respect in the workplace because you're trying too hard to be liked and using commitment-based methods too often, then you may need to practice putting some pressure on your team. If you know that you're kind of a mean person and you put a lot of pressure on people, try thinking of ways to use rational persuasion or collaboration as you start trying to build commitment. A lot of leadership gurus focus on mindset, but I'm not a guru, and my focus is on behavior, not on mindset. If you want to become a better leader, then focus your behavior every day on harmonizing compliance and commitment. Keep in touch by signing up for my free email newsletter and let me know if this worked for you. The link is in the description. I write a lot about leadership, complexity, uncertainty, history, strategy, and a bunch of other stuff. The newsletters are usually just a few paragraphs that I send out once or twice a month, but replying to the newsletter is the easiest way to get in contact with me. Thanks for watching.